For most of Earth's history, the planet operated on a strict, predictable rhythm. Seasons cycled like clockwork, and ecosystems spent millions of years establishing deep, undisturbed root systems. The rise of modern human civilization interrupted that cycle. We learned to clear, to dig, and to expand our footprint at a pace the natural world had never experienced. The current destabilization of our climate resulted from a calculated shift in human ambition, where we prioritized rapid resource extraction over the planet's established physical limits. This era of disruption began with the Industrial Revolution. Humanity found a way to harness the high-density chemical energy stored in fossil fuels, allowing our ambition to physically overrun natural constraints. We replaced natural landscapes with factories and sent men deep underground to pull up coal. We traded the slow rhythm of the natural world for the promise of infinite economic growth. But burning that coal released invisible byproducts into the sky, specifically carbon dioxide and methane. These are greenhouse gases, molecules with a physical structure that naturally traps heat. For decades, Earth's natural carbon sinks, our oceans and vast forests, quietly absorbed this excess gas. The planet essentially masked the danger, maintaining a stable atmosphere while our industries expanded. Eventually, we hit a mathematical limit. Our industrial emission rates wildly outpaced the planet's capacity to absorb them. The excess gases had nowhere to go, so they began compounding in the atmosphere. This created a blanket effect. Thermal radiation from the sun hits the Earth, but instead of escaping back into space, that heat strikes the thickened layer of greenhouse gases and bounces back to the surface. Through the desire to build the modern world, humanity engineered a long-term physics problem that would inevitably destabilize the global climate. Today, that abstract atmospheric math has translated into macroscopic destruction. The microscopic changes in our air are violently dismantling the physical world. Look at the polar regions. Glacial structures that have held permanent ice for millennia are rapidly decaying into meltwater, dumping massive volumes of liquid into the oceans. And the downstream effects compound daily. Trapped atmospheric heat energizes weather systems, creating aggressive droughts that dry out ecosystems until the crisis literally spills onto our highways. The speed and violence of these events eliminate the argument of natural planetary variation. The data forces us to confront a highly aggressive, human-driven reality. Stopping the destruction means rewiring the global economy, and deploying those solutions requires deep, immediate, and often painful sacrifices. Consider Ireland. In 2019, the government outlined a strategy to plant 440 million trees by the year 2040. On paper, it is a direct method to heal the land, but executing a biological project of that scale requires millions of acres of land. You cannot plant a forest without tearing up the infrastructure that is already there. For local farmers, this mandate was an existential threat. These multi-generational farmlands are their sole source of livelihood. The economic logic is clear. If a farmer relinquishes usable pasture to plant a mandated forest, they instantly lose their ability to produce food, generate income, and feed their own family today. Solving the climate crisis requires navigating a grueling economic trade-off between the survival of present-day livelihoods and the long-term habitability of the planet. The window to navigate that conflict is rapidly closing. We are approaching irreversible scientific thresholds, like oceans becoming entirely too acidic to support marine life, and vast rainforests drying into deserts. As these disasters became too visible and costly to ignore, they triggered an intense, cross-generational response. A massive societal movement mobilized in the streets, turning scientific data into a loud, unavoidable demand for change. The sheer volume of this grassroots pressure fractured years of corporate denial. It shifted the political window, forcing international institutions out of gridlock and into drafting binding actions. We realized a crucial truth. The exact same capacity for massive industrial ambition that caused the crisis could be weaponized to engineer the solution. Crossing that threshold of mass social awareness was the mandatory prerequisite. Without it, deploying physical and technological solutions at a global scale would have been impossible. And now, the deployment is happening. We are actively scaling up alternative energy infrastructure, using massive wind farms to permanently phase out fossil fuels. Global transportation is transitioning away from century-old combustion engines. integrating directly into a newly electrified, low-emission grid. And despite the intense local friction, biological solutions are working. Immense reforestation efforts are successfully taking root across Ireland, Africa, and Asia. Our era will be defined by the physics problem we accidentally engineered, but our legacy depends entirely on how aggressively we harness our ambition to rebuild the world we leave behind.